What's going on, everybody? Jacob here at JK Productions. Las Vegas Raiders just signed Jimmy Garoppolo, and I do believe that's the most underrated move so far through NFL free agency. So the Raiders move off of Derek Carr and now bring in Jimmy Garoppolo to what is all likely to be a bridge quarterback situation where they draft a quarterback at the fourth pick, whether that be Will Levis, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, depending on who falls to them, and let Jimmy Garoppolo go out there for at the very least this season and ball out with the talent they have around him. You look at his career numbers, 103 passer rating, looking at 7 interceptions per season. He is not somebody who is a gunslinger. He's not somebody who is going to move around, make plays with his feet. He's going to sit back in the pocket, deliver the ball to his open guys, and great opportunity to do that now with Josh Jacobs and Davante Adams, two massive playmakers. The Las Vegas Raiders bringing back Josh Jacobs with the franchise tag. They still have Davante Adams, of course. And with the 49ers, Garoppolo did a very good job at, again, just distributing the ball, working the ball in the offense. They have Davante Adams. They have Josh Jacobs. They also have Darren Waller. They also have, Hunter Renfrow to give the ball to. They have a decent amount of weapons, which was the one strong suit of the Raiders last season. Their defense, they allowed the most touchdowns in the league, most passing touchdowns in the league, the fourth most passing yards. And their defense, it wasn't great, to say the least. And that's what ended up costing them. The Raiders had 9 one-score losses throughout the season. And if those losses just a few of those losses turn to wins, they're there in the wild card chase at the end of the season. And Jimmy Garoppolo now is not going to be asked to do a lot. He's not going to be asked to carry a team. Las Vegas Raiders have to make more moves. This is not the only move the Las Vegas Raiders can make. They have to go out and get some defensive players. They have to go out and add to their secondary. They have Max Crosby on the defensive line, Chandler Jones, and that's really about it. They have a lot of holes to fill. They have a lot of holes to fill, especially also on the offensive line, despite their offensive line. Josh Jacobs had an incredible season last year. They need to add around the team, and now they have somebody who's just going to distribute the ball, turn the ball over a little less than Derek Carr did, has a little less upside than Derek Carr has, but again, is just going to maintain and deliver in the offense. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with that, especially when you're going to your future guy who does have that upside. Just try to win some games, get into the playoffs, make the team feel good. You got Josh McDaniels going into his second season as Raiders head coach. A lot of people said he should have been fired. At one point last season, I said he should have been fired. Now he gets somebody who's comfortable with, somebody he's worked with the New England Patriots. Jimmy Garoppolo comes over, and again, he's just going to be asked to run the system. And I think that's a great move by the Las Vegas Raiders. They're not going to find a quarterback outside of maybe rookies, and I highly doubt it. They're not going to find a quarterback that's going to be able to compete on a regular basis with Patrick Mahomes, with Justin Herbert. The Denver Broncos going all in with Russell Wilson, going out getting Sean Payton. They just signed Mike McGlinchey. You're not going to be able to hold up with that, with the current crop of guys out there, except for possibly Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers had already said it's not happening. Trey Wingo just reported that it looks like Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets is basically a done deal. So that, while it would have been a nice dream for Raiders fans, not something that was going to happen. What you get is a just prototypical pocket passer quarterback who's going to sit back, and if they improve the offensive line, they continue the strong rushing attack, he'll be able to get the ball with relative ease to, again, the likes of Davante Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and whatever else they do to this team. I don't think they're going to be competing for the AFC West crown next year, but with 3 wildcard spots available, this is a team that if they get just solid enough quarterback play, continue to make additions in free agency and draft well, they could potentially push for a wild card spot. I felt good about Las Vegas Raiders going into last season. Obviously, they collapsed and they didn't materialize to what I thought they would, but 9 one-loss games is a rough feeling to have. And we saw that 2 years ago with the Minnesota Vikings, where I think there was something stupid like 1-9, 1-10 in one-score ball games. Now you flip that to last season, the Minnesota Vikings completely turned that on its head, and they were like 13-2 in one-score ball games, which is something that's unrealistic. 9 one-loss games for the Raiders. You add Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy who doesn't turn the ball over a lot, 7 interceptions a season throughout his 6 years that he's mostly started in the NFL, not counting his first 3 years where he barely played, about 7 interceptions a game, a 103 passer rating. You don't turn the ball over. You get the ball into the hands of your skilled wide receivers, into your skilled running back. You control the clock. You don't put your weaker defense out on the field. I think it's a recipe to win games. And Jimmy Garoppolo's found himself some great situations over his NFL career. Got some rings with the New England Patriots. Didn't have to do really anything. Goes over to San Francisco. Gets to one Super Bowl. Nearly gets to another last season. Nearly got to it as a injured quarterback last season as well. So he could have had 3 Super Bowl appearances with the San Francisco 49ers. Walks away without any rings there. And now goes over to the Las Vegas Raiders with a coach he's comfortable with. Great receiving core. A+ running back. And some work that is to be determined to see how much they build up this team on the defensive side and on the offensive line. They are by far from a finished product, but there are things that they can do to better themselves, and I can see them pushing for that wild card spot next year. Are you a Raiders fan? Do you like the move by the Raiders to go out and get Jimmy Garoppolo? Again, I think this is one of the more underrated moves so far. I'm looking at my group chat, and it was just a screenshot sent over for Jimmy Garoppolo. And just looking to see if there's any news, because there's been so much happening so far. It just happened. It started up, a few hours ago. The tampering period. Nothing happened, so we'll stick with this. But I'm looking at my group chat, and nobody's really talking about that and about the Garoppolo news. It was almost kind of just, tongue-in-cheek, just, oh, by the way, this happened. I'm like, okay. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, the Raiders move off of Derek Carr. The only real quarterback that could have been a lateral move, kind of lateral enough move that's available, probably would have been Jimmy Garoppolo. They still have a early pick in the first round. They can go out and draft their future quarterback, have Garoppolo win a lot of games for them this year, make the playoffs, and then have that quarterback come in next year. It makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a lot of sense for me for both sides. For Garoppolo, he gets opportunity to start. I never thought he was going to go to somewhere like Miami, like the New York Jets, where they're going to be fighting for a starting position. If the Jets brought him in, he was actually not the Jets. The Jets, he probably could have got the starting job there. But let's just say like Miami Dolphins. He goes to Miami, and he's definitely not going to be the starting quarterback. No matter what you believe about Tua, he's not going to be the starting quarterback over Tua. But he would be a very expensive backup in case Tua goes down. The Dolphins have a great quarterback to step in and run the offense, which is kind of what they're asking Tua to do. I never thought he was going to go to a situation like that. I always thought he was going to go somewhere like the Commanders, the Panthers, the Raiders, where day one, he's going to be able to give them the starting job with very little competition. Now, if they draft somebody, again, like Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, CJ Stroud, who comes into camp and balls out, well, that just sucks. It's the nature of the business. It happens. But as of now, he's the Raiders starting quarterback, 3 great receiving options, 1 great running back behind him, a very difficult division, but games to be won by the Raiders next season, 1-score games that they can try to flip on their head and win and get closer to playoff contention. I really like this for the Raiders. Let me know what you think about the move. I think it's one of the more underrated moves we've seen so far, but let me know what you think, especially if you're a Raiders fan. What do you think of Jimmy Garoppolo joining your team? Jacob, JK Productions, make sure to like, subscribe. Have a great rest of your day. Take care, everybody.